Yo, what's up guys, it's Garrett here. We're back with another video. Today we're actually going to be covering a new controller made by Scuf. It's called the Scuf Envision Pro. It's a new PC controller that they've piloted, and there's a lot of new features and buttons and all that good stuff. We're going to be going over the software, the controller physically, and we're going to run some games on COD and test it out. I hope you guys enjoy. If you like the video, buy a Scuf. If you subscribe, I hope you're buying a Scuf. And let me know if you guys like these kind of videos where I pull some expensive product and try to see what a review looks like on it. Hope you guys enjoy. Peace. So this is an up close of the Envision controller. This is just my setup. I got the void faceplate and I had like a little blue trim. The black thumbstick is what came with it. They didn't give me a long blue thumbstick with it because on my right side where I aim on shooters, I always have a long stick because it's a little bit easier to move. It's a little bit more flicky. But yeah, this is my loadout for it. On the bottom, you do have a G1 through 5 key, which can key to any button on the controller and on your keyboard. I actually have my G1 on my spacebar because that's what I use for push to talk. So really, really cool. Definitely bright and vibrant. This is the back side of the controller. You actually have trigger stoppers, and you actually have like a scale as to how far you want your trigger stopper to go. Right now I have it very minimal, but you can switch it to where it goes all the way down if you're into racing games and all that good stuff. I personally like 0 movement, so really, really cool. You also have 4 back buttons, which I use my left hand side for jump, my right hand side for crouch, and then the other 2 I kind of just have mix and match other action buttons like my Y and my X, my reload and my swap weapons. It does come with some good grip. This is the Pro version. Obviously if I'm going to spend $280 on a controller, it's going to be the Pro version. And then on the sides, you'll notice there's S buttons now. These kind of lay as you're aiming. They kind of lay right in between your pointer fingers, depending on how you like the layout. I personally inactivated the one that's on my left side because I continuously pressed it as I'm trying to aim, and that's just how I hold my controller, so I inactivated it. And then on my right hand side, actually, I have that linked to my up on my D-pad for pinging enemies, so you can trace them through walls, which is pretty cool. A make or break for some people for this controller is that it can be USB connected, and it can also be Wi-Fi connected. I think it's one of the only PC controllers that I know of that can do this. So you can disconnect your USB. I personally don't because I think it's faster, and I also have my controller overclocked, so I don't want to mess that up by unplugging it. But yeah, definitely solid controller. If you're on PC, I highly suggest getting this controller. The trigger stoppers are great for first-person shooters. The S buttons are really great for maybe fighting games. And underneath, these G keys are a game changer for me because that means I don't have to use my keyboard basically at all. So a little bit more on the software of the controller. You have to go to Corsair's website and download IQ. It's ICUE. I might leave like a link in the description for you guys. One thing I will say is the software and the setup for this controller is not as easy as any other controller. It's definitely not plug-in ready. So first you're going to download Corsair's website, you're going to download the driver for the Envision controller, and then you're going to end up coming to here. If your controller is connected, you will end up having your controller here, and then you can actually customize it. So your murals are going to be all of your designs and all that good stuff. That's going to be on the bottom of the controller, underneath your G keys. So I have Interstellar because it kind of goes with Void, so it looks pretty cool. The software also tells you about your PC sensors, so how it's running, all that good stuff. Pretty unnecessary information, but I'll take it. And basically when you go to click on your controller, it's going to have this list on the left of all of your presets and your customs and your in-depth options. So if you go straight down, mappings is the one that you actually want to change and then have a custom preset for it. So these are my custom settings. Like I said before, I have the S1 button on the left hand side disabled because I just continuously pressed it and I just couldn't deal with it. The right hand side I have D-pad up, so that makes it so I can ping my enemies and it's easy to do. On the bottom, like I mentioned before, I linked my G1 button to my keyboard and my spacebar because my spacebar is my push to talk. So all I have to do is press that button and I can do push to talk like how I normally would. And on the back side, it's a pretty normal setup for anyone that uses 4 paddles. You always have your jump and your crouch on the back, and then you kind of use the other 2 if you need to, but a lot of people don't. So if you go down in the triggers, it's a live app. So if you press down, it shows your dead zones and how quickly it's responding and what it thinks it's going to. Same deal with your right-hand side. And then on the bottom, you can change your values, your dead zones. And if you really want to go around and play with that, be my guest. It's the same deal with your thumbsticks. Your thumbsticks also are live, can show your dead zones, what kind of dead zone you want. And then vibration, I don't have vibration paddles in my controller, so I just put it down to 0 just because. If you have vibration in your controller and you have an option to get rid of it, you're a criminal. And that's a little bit about the software. I mean, the software is not, like I said, plug and ready. You have to download the driver from the Corsair website, because without that, your controller is going to run like buns. So just to talk about the controller a little bit, the back buttons don't feel as clicky as other Scuff controllers. They seem more of like a mush kind of click in a way. Your action buttons on the right side, like your X, Y, A, B, are definitely like very quick responding too. Like they're very clicky. And the trigger stopper is the best things for me. I didn't have trigger stoppers in my last Scuff controller, but I don't have to click down at all on this controller. So getting a little used to tracing people with the controller, because obviously whenever you get a new controller, it's always the same thing where your analog sticks aren't as moving, and it's a little bit harder to keep holding onto them as they're moving. It's just a matter of getting used to it. So right there, you guys didn't see it, but I accidentally clicked the S1 button on my left side. If I had it paired to something, I would have done whatever that action was. I don't know what's up with these guys and all their claymores, but yeah, so tracing people is a little bit harder for me right now, but it just comes with time. But the trigger stops are a great feel. Like, they don't feel like cheap or anything. I barely have to press down to actually shoot. But all in all, cool. It's a good controller. Once I get used to it and I actually can use all the functions for the controller as well as I can, I'm definitely going to end up liking this a lot more than my last Scuff. One thing to add also is it doesn't have a button that brings up your scoreboard on shooters like Call of Duty. That is like your normal PS5 controller. So it has it actually as your share button that I think would be on PlayStation. It's more of just an FYI kind of thing. So that's the review on the Scuf Envision Pro. Let me know what your thoughts are on it. I personally love the controller. It's going to have to take some time to get used to it, especially since I had my last Scuf controller for almost 2 years. Let me know in the comments if you guys like this kind of video, if you like the controller. And yeah, have a good rest of your day. Peace.